Hey, this video is about, this is the reason your business isn't growing. A lot of you guys that are in business right now, trying to scale, you're trying to do all this stuff. You gotta understand something about business. There's a rule that I've followed over the years. It's a real simple one. You never want the business to outgrow you. You never want that. I've seen it time and time again in business and in life. I mean, it happens even in relationships, right? Even in relationships, people outgrow one another, outgrow your family, you outgrow all this stuff, right? Even in those cases, you find yourself like wondering like what happened? What the hell happened? You have to understand that when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, you're kind of like in a street fight. You're scrappy, right? You gotta be scrappy, you gotta be nimble. You're in the neighborhood street fights because you're trying to gain territory, you're trying to gain market share. You're trying to fight for a little kernel, right? You're not going for the whole pie. You're going for the kernel. So you start out as a scrappy kid. And then as you start to gain momentum and you kind of take over the neighborhood, you got to kind of elevate your game a little bit, and you start to become like a little bit more of this entrepreneurial, I own the neighborhood and I'm running stuff, and I got 5 employees, I got 7 employees, or whatever it is, right? And you're kind of running stuff. And then what happens is you go from that and you go into a bigger scale. And when you go into a bigger scale, you start to get into this, now I'm running stuff. You go from this entrepreneurial person to a CEO. And when you go to CEO, you're starting to evolve as a businessman. You know, you're starting to now look at balance sheets, and you're starting to look at profit and loss statements, and you're starting to look at all this stuff which you didn't have to look at before, and you didn't have to know a lot of this stuff before. And now you're starting to meet more seasoned people, right? So you went from this scrappy little kid to now this entrepreneur, from an alleyway to a neighborhood to now a city entrepreneur, now graduating to a CEO. What you have to understand is that as you step up to each one of these levels, it's not that you only have to step up, is your business is forcing you to step up. Your business, your company now is demanding from you a certain level of expertise. It's demanding from you a certain level of discipline. That's what the game is asking. And you got to understand that the game is asking you now to level up. You got to be from here to here. Company is demanding that. Your employees, your opponents, everybody is now demanding, because you're now playing at the highest level. Right now you're playing at the NBA, you're playing at the NFL.
Oh, that is some serious commitment.
I don't know what ideas people have in their mind, okay? Because I talk to people all the time. You know, when I did the Rise conference in past June, and these entrepreneurs were coming up to me and like, hey man, how did you scale? How did you do this? How did you do that? And they all think it's external. Okay, this is the mistake. The mistake is it's not external. The game is not played out there. The game is played in here, okay? It's internal. This is how you win championships, and this is how you scale, not the external. You have to forget about the external, and you have to think with, okay, how do I level up? If your business is not leveling up and you're sitting there wondering why it's not, and you're blaming because you're having issue with clients and you can't hire and you can't do this, you can't do that. Yes, those are somewhat true, but it's only because you have not adapted. You're still probably either playing scrappy neighborhood entrepreneur or citywide entrepreneur, and you haven't graduated to the CEO, to the elite of the elite, where you're like, you know how to run, okay? You got to be able to run. And if your business is not growing, it's because you have not changed. You have not evolved. This is why it's so important to get out, to meet people. That's why coming to the Rise conference is so important. Scheduled April 19th next year, 2024. You know, it's going to be amazing speakers like Alex Rodriguez, a bunch of other talented individuals, okay, that have scaled. But these guys have all mastered this ability to go from a scrappy neighborhood entrepreneur, which we all start out being, but then most people don't evolve that mindset. They don't graduate and mold themselves and train themselves into being something bigger, because now that's what the game requires. Okay, that's what the game requires. That's a mistake that so many entrepreneurs make, and I see it time and time and time again, right? Don't be the scrappy neighborhood entrepreneur. Okay. Yes, there is a time and place for that. I started out as a scrappy entrepreneur. If you guys don't know my story, maybe you just started following me on social media. Look, I started with 1 employee 10 years ago in a 500 square foot office. I was that scrappy kid. That had to evolve as an entrepreneur into a CEO, into somebody that could lead and manage a group of people. We have over 500 employees today, man. 500 employees, 500 families, 500 people that are counting on us to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do. So please don't make this biggest mistake. Don't make the mistake.
Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
I want you to win. I want you to be number one in your space. I want you to be all you can be. And you're only gonna be all you can be is if you stop being the neighborhood scrappy entrepreneur. You gotta be the guy, the girl that evolves yourself from being that scrappy entrepreneur into a CEO. And it's only gonna happen by you elevating your game and getting yourself to a position that you need to be in. It's only gonna happen by doing that. It ain't gonna happen by you wondering why you're not where you wanna be. The only reason that you're not where you want to be is because of you. And that might be a hard pill for people to swallow. It may be like, oh, well, that's not true because, you know, if only I was blah, 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 blah. No, dude. The only reason I am where I am today in my life is because I was willing to adapt. I was willing to grow. I was willing to swallow the hard pills, take the tough medicine, adapt, change, and invest in me to get myself to a point where I could play in the big leagues. And that's what I always work towards every single day. I'm always a student. I'm a student of life. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to learn from people. I want to get in front of the right people. I want to be everything that I could be and more. So if that's what you're striving for and you're upset because you haven't gotten to where it is that you want to get to in life, you got to start to adapt. You got to start to change. You got to start to evolve. That is the key. That is the secret. That is the reason why your business is not where you want it to be. That is the reason why you are not making the income that it is that you want to make, is because you have not evolved as an entrepreneur. You got to evolve. You got to take risks. You got to make the right decisions. A lot of you are using the wrong data. You're not around the right people. You know, if you guys have been following me, you guys know I preach about that. I talk about it. You got to get in front of the right people, and you got to be surrounded by the right people. If you're surrounded by the wrong people, surrounded by morons, you're gonna become a moron. You're the average of the 7 people that you hang around. So do an inventory of the people that you're hanging around and figure out, hey, who am I hanging around? You're hanging around a bunch of morons, you're gonna become a half moron. Okay?
Facts and facts and facts.
I don't want you to be a moron. I want you to be successful. And I want you to be what you've always dreamed that you know you could be. And that's only gonna happen if you follow these rules. So hope that helps. Be great. If you like this channel, please like, subscribe, share below. Please comment. Want to hear your comments. And I also want to see you at the Rise Conference 2024, April 19th weekend, Tampa, Florida. 3,000 seats. It's gonna be epic. Largest entrepreneurial conference in the country. Biggest A-listers in the country, or if not the world. I want to see you there. Let's go. Max life, baby. Max life.